What's up guys, and welcome to another new video. I've been at my very first Tekken offline tournament here at Crossover, and I participated for the first time also in such an offline tournament. And I want to talk about my experience today and what I learned from this. Because going to an offline event such as Crossover here in Germany, that is quite something. And I took a few notes that I want to share with you all, if you want to hear me out. So first note, for example, is like so many are so incredibly friendly at such an offline event. And it just shows me that personally playing online ranked is just stupid. Yeah, there's cool people in my community, for example, when I host player lobbies and we get along, like even if like some very strong players come along, we're all just there to have like friendly matches, a good time, and we even goof around and, you know, just having fun. Once you go online ranked, just goes to hell, and it's generally not fun, and I genuinely feel a little bit burnout from it. And going to that offline tournament, seeing these people in person, it was entirely different, and I personally really liked it. For example, on that day that I played on Saturday, before even my group started, which was around like noon-ish, I was just asked randomly by another player, like, you want to play a few matches, warm up with me? And I'm like, sure, let's do it. He was a Dragunov on Tekken level. As you know, I'm only a law on Bushin. And he genuinely beat my ass. But I also got a few rounds in there, and even one or two matches over the, 10, 20 matches we played as warm-up. And it genuinely was a good time. He had a friend with him who was just asking a few questions and chatting. And I was also just there along to see how I can do, especially with Brian, for example, a character, of course, that has a counter strategy to my play as law, where I want to be all in his face and he wants to just get a counter hit in. I often fell for straps, but it definitely woke me up, and it was a good warm-up for sure. And that alone was great. Once or two, we're seeing like, oh, our groups are getting ready. We're like, all right, let's last match, and then we go off. We wished each other good luck, and then see what happened. Of course, none of us made it to top 8, but hey, we had a good time, and we just randomly practiced there. And especially playing with someone a very long set offline, no lag at all, and just, you know, having our two characters lock in, that was absolutely fantastic. And that experience alone was already worth the price of admission for me to this event. The second note to me was that it's really worth going. Even if you think you can't achieve anything, just go and have fun. Because sometimes just having experience is worth 1,000 points alone. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. I lost all my matches. Let's be quite frank here. If you see in the tournament page, my first opponent was 𝐶̑�𝐮, who actually is a Smash player, and he didn't appear to my Tekken 8 play. He ended up being third place in the Smash tournament at the same event. And I think he just signed up randomly early on and then decided, I'm actually not going to play Tekken 8. So he was a no-show. I got it forwarded as the default winner. And then when I actually played my two matches that I had, I first lost, and then the second match I also lost. So I was immediately out 0-2. And someone said to me, hey, congrats for not going 0-2 in your first tournament. And I'm like, I mean, I did, though, because all the matches that I played, I lost. Let's just be quite real. But did I hate that? I personally did not hate that at all. I think that just going again and having experience like organizing and participating, like, hey, your TO, like, how does it work now? Just stay here. This is your pool, right? And say at these tables, they're like a long row of tables with like 6 stations there, and like 7 to 8 matches in the pool, and then 4 pools happening at the same time, right? And so I just stood there like, hey, George, just wait here. And then, yeah, we were waiting. And because I was the only person whose first match did not show up, I was just standing there for 5 minutes thinking, okay, well, this is fun. I'm just waiting here. Oh, my best friend is playing right now, and he's getting his ass kicked. And that alone, again, it was good to have that experience, to just get into the groove of things. And then when, funny enough, my best friend and I, we were literally like one match next to each other in the same pool. So if we both would have lost, we both would have fought each other. And then one of us at least would have gone home with a 1 instead of a 0-2. That it didn't come like this, because basically I got forward and then we lost in parallel. So I fought the winner of the match, and I got generally my ass handed to me. Apparently Merle is like a good buddy of Nino, the Kuma player here in Germany, and he played Eddie on that day, and I lost hard against an Eddie player. Online, and the level that I play against Eddies, they are just totally different. And Mele as an Eddie, generally high-level player, absolutely fantastic plays there. I have seen so many strings that I've seen when I played played Eddie myself last year, I knew like I should duck them. But just because I was in a tournament setting offline, I had to be there. I had to log in basically. And I was like, I can't do it. I see the mid and the high coming, and I'm not generally ducking the high, and was a little bit frustrating. But in the end, you can just accept like on that day, you're not performing up to your normal standards, I guess. And to be quite frankly, in the lead up to the event, I personally have been burning out a little bit. I was not even attempting to stream anymore at the end, or if you saw me stream, like energy levels were not that high. I can admit to that. And that's generally because I usually keep Tekken 8 like on the low end. I stream it once a week normally, and then maybe do like 2 days in a week where I play like off stream some online games, and that's it. In the lead up to the tournament, I played for almost 4 weeks straight, like nonstop every day. And it was draining me out a little bit. Second match was against the 𝐸𝐸, and he was also generally a great player. I don't even know anymore which character he played. I think it was Feng. So I went in with Law, so like I got my ass beaten 0-3. I think 1-3. I think I won 1 round, okay? And then I lost the match, and I was thinking, hey, well, I'm not sure if Law is the right character for this Feng matchup here. So I switched over to Reina. Got a couple of electrics in there, but like no big things really. And so I lost that the second match off. The second round here, 0-3. It is what it is, and I can admit to just having been the weaker opponent, and my others were just stronger. But again, it's not a bad thing. Again, I don't think it is. Because like while losing is just one side of the coin, I think it's always a great opportunity to learn to grow. And this is what I want to give you personally. Like even if you lose, just go there. Get into the groove of like meeting these strangers. Not strange people, I'm sorry. These strangers, and then make a quick matchup, do your rock, paper, scissors. Second time around I did that, I just completely lost a little bit with my nerves. I was 1-2 and then just showed my hand, and I was like, wait, you showed 3? And like, oh yeah, right. Like I was totally out of the groove. And the other person noticed that I was nervous. And even after the match, like, noticed me, you were a little nervous, right? And I've been like, yeah, it's my first tournament, right? And so definitely nervous. And I was shitting myself constantly, just out of like, oh shit, my nerves are on. I did not sleep well that night before. But again, in order to get over that, based on my experience in the speedrun scene, right? I've been speedrunning since 2021. Been participating there in speedrunning races, just like friendly races, but the goal is to beat the other person with a lower time. And then even tournaments in that scene. It definitely helps to just get going and do it. And your nerves get better over time. However, I gotta say, like, speedrunning is fucking easy against Tekken 8, right? Like, I just learned Metacoded 3 Fox sound strats for European Extreme, the highest difficulty, in preparation for the Delta Snake Eater game that releases at the end of August. And that shit is so much easier because it's always the exact same thing. You just follow the formula, recite your dance, and you go for the game. Like, there's really no variety of, like, maybe just a couple of things. But for the most part, it's a very linear thing you just go through. Tekken 8 is, like, constantly, everything is changing. There's, like, small puzzle pieces, like, 1,000 times all over. And each time you try to make a puzzle, within, like, 60 seconds, each time around happens. And that definitely takes more energy for sure, in my personal experience. Right? And lastly, of course, it's really something different to go to an offline tournament and be in the audience to watch the Tekken matches. So I watched, of course, today on Sunday, the top 8 as well. It was mainly for Momodar, of course. I was hoping, my German goat will win here with 𝐸𝐸𝐿. I will spoiler the events a little bit because I have something to say about how things happen. So if you don't want to know how this tournament ended at crossover, you skip. But I will talk about that now. So in the beginning of the top 8, 𝐶IN was up against Eddie. 𝐶IN from the Netherlands with Yoshimitsu. Of course, an absolutely insane display as always this event. Won last year at crossover 2024. And he lost against Eddie here. Eddie written here with 3 Ds and comes from the UK playing not Eddie. Yeah, I know, to my surprise as well. He was playing Feng. And his Feng beat 𝐶IN's Yoshimitsu right away. Like, I think almost 0-3 in the matches, or 0-2 when they were playing first to 2. So Eddie went on, and then in the winners final against Momodar, Eddie won again. Feng versus 𝐸𝐸𝐿, no chance. Like, Feng was dominating there. It was insane to see. And then throughout the losers round, it came clear, and we came to the losers final. It was 𝐶IN against Momodar, which was exciting to see. Yoshimitsu versus 𝐸𝐸𝐿. And they went a little bit back and forth. It was relatively close, but in the end, Yoshimitsu prevailed, and 𝐶IN went on to the grand final. And we had a rematch again of Eddie versus 𝐶IN here. Feng versus Yoshimitsu. And the first match of that day was looking interesting because 𝐶IN was just constantly playing. He had to play like back to back to back throughout the losers series. And in the grand final, he won the first round and the first match. And that was great to see. Like, okay, yeah, Yoshi's here. He's beating the Feng finally. Let's see how it continues. And then Eddie came back strong. and just beats Sin 3-1, winning the grand final and not losing a single match in top 8. And seeing that live in the audience with a live stage there, it was just hype. The audience was great. I think Team Fox is called, had Piker and Sin there in top 8, and some Beijing fans were there like supporting them so loudly. It was really cool. And then the German audience, generally not known for supporting their players that much, at least not in that same audio level. They just stood there by Momo's side with of course, 30 people. There's a 5 to 6 that were there for Team Fox, but they were much quieter. And so maybe it was a little bit also of motivation that changed. I don't know. I'm just saying that Eddie, the person that came from the UK, was solely alone, had no coach at all, and made it through the entire tournament as the winner. So think of it as a win. Last year, it was cool to see some other players I think 𝐾𝐮 was there. We had Joker and a couple others from the German scene as well, with Tetsu and Nino, for example. This year, of course, at the same time, if you may have seen it, the Esports World Cup last chance qualifiers were happening this weekend for Tekken 8, and a lot of the German people at least were also present there, like Tetsu and Nino, I know. And that will be something that we will watch actually next week, so look forward to that. So yeah, at least here, crossover was a little bit a smaller set of at least European presentation, or at least German presentation. There was a lot of Europeans here actually. And yeah, again, seeing this live on stage was fun. Again, I can recommend doing that. Just if you're just interested in watching and not even participating yourself, still go, because I think live it's still something different in a big hall on big monitors to watch these Tekken matches. It's a lot of fun. And even if you're not participating as a tournament player, get your setup there, get your controller, and ask for a friendly match with someone random you don't know. You will never know who you meet and what lessons you can pull from them, especially an offline. If they say, yeah, sure, let's play, if you afterwards ask, hey, what can I improve on? You generally get great answers, or at least answers where you do get some help. Unlike online, for example, where people just want to sell you their coaching session, which nothing wrong with that. But I mean, offline, you can get it for free if you ask nicely. And that's cool. And that's what I did with Empress FGC, by the way. This week, when I was streaming, after one of the streams, I rated Empress FGC and was seeing, she was playing Reina. It's cool. I like Reina as well. That's my secondary main, basically. And I noticed this week, Empress is at this tournament as well. She's actually German. I was thinking, hey, that's cool. I should ask for a match, just because I really enjoyed being in the chat at the time after the raid and had good time there. Maybe this person also wants to play me in a friendly. So I wrote them on Discord. Sadly, Empress already left the event at that time, and so I asked her late, but I also got the offer hey, if you're at another EU tournament, she'll be there. I can just ask and we will play a session. And I'm like, hey, that's cool. Start making connections and just ask, because the worst they can say is no. And mostly they say yes, which is really cool. So use the chance. Play stronger opponents, especially stronger opponents, because it generally helps you to, if you take the time to analyze it, to take a look in the mirror and think, okay, this is what I did wrong. This is where I got punished. And in online, you will just never get that direct feedback, especially if you can literally ask the person there. It's really a different path going forward. And I would certainly try to make more time for offline events. I'm not sure if I'm going to travel all of Europe and participate in big tournaments like this again, but maybe small events left and right here in my near vicinity. That will be cool. And generally just asking hey, you want to, even if I just ask someone online, hey, you want to play an FT5? That's what I really enjoy my personal streams, for example, with the community. Just hey, let's sit down and make an FT5 and see what happens. If I lose 0-5, hopefully I can take some good lessons. I mean, I got the replays from that, of course. But I can always go back at my own time and see what I did wrong there. And that generally helps. It's not just about online ranked. And this weekend I especially learned that again. All right, folks, I'll leave you for today. Thanks so much for listening to all of this ranting and talking here. I'll be taking a little bit of a break from Tekken 8. I will not be streaming this every day anymore. I'll be going back to a few clips per day and one stream a week. That's fine. You know that, of course. I'll be back again with more news once there's more updates coming around. And, of course, in October, then, 𝐸𝐸, for example. Have a good day, everyone, and good night. Bye-bye.